Luofu! It's time. A lot of people have been asking me for a pronunciation guide for Honkai Star Rail, especially the Xianzhou characters. I get it. Because I've been playing through Sumeru recently in Genshin and I feel your pain, and because I deeply relate to your inability to pronounce character names. I know some people don't feel bad, but some people do. I get ya. I feel really bad when I cannot say a Sumeru name properly. So this is for you. There are timestamps at the bottom if you want to jump around. I've been asking chat to help me out, so thank you chat for all of your research guidance. All of our usual disclaimers apply. Mandarin pronunciation, again, is not constant. There's a standard one as set by the Chinese government. Very political, not gonna get into it. Don't want my family disappeared all of a sudden. So basically, everyone says Mandarin a little differently, even in China and all of the other landmasses, etc., that speak Chinese. And the pronunciation that I use is following the standardized version. So if you are here to learn the standardized Mandarin pronunciation, that's what I'm here for. If you have a little bit of fluctuation within that, whether you're a Chinese speaker or not, totally understandable. Standard Mandarin is really hard to pronounce, so you're valid. Do your best. Proud of you for trying. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, there are 4 main Chinese tones. Quick recap. The first is ah, it goes flat. Second one goes ah, goes upward. Third one goes ah, down and then up. And the fourth one goes ah, straight down. And of course, because we're still so early in the game and I even have only played about 3 hours of it so far, we'll do a recap and an update maybe later on, a few months down the line, when we have more lore, more characters, and more pronunciations to cover. If you have any questions or addendums to add, go ahead and put them directly in the YouTube comments. So thank you very much. We'll start first with the Xianzhou Lianmeng. So Xianzhou is the, I guess the name of the alliance, the Xianzhou Alliance. So you say Xianzhou, Xianzhou. When you see the X in Chinese pinyin, it's always kind of like an American SH, sh, right? But instead of the sh, kind of flatten it a little, if that makes sense, and bring your tongue forward. So Xianzhou. And then the zhou is kind of like the DR in drive or drool. So zhou. Go with the zh sound. Xianzhou. Meaning wise, I've been joking with chat. I literally call it God boat because Xian means like celestial or God-like figure, right? So Xian is God and zhou is boat, so it's the God boat. But if you want to give it a more poetic name, you can call it the celestial vessel. So importantly, the tones for Xianzhou, they're both first tones. So it's Xianzhou, right? Flat tones. You don't want to mess up the tones too much because, for example, if I said Xianzhou, that would mean salty porridge. And we don't want that. So it's not the Salty Porridge Alliance, it's the God Boat Alliance. So just be careful with your tones. But honestly, if you're gonna say it in the context of an English sentence anyway, no one's gonna notice your tones. So as much as I like to make jokes about it, it's not that deep. Don't worry too much about it. Just do your best. I believe in you. Out of the Xianzhou Hex fleet, there's, I guess, one boat called the Xianzhou Luofu. And fun fact, Luofu, I think, is just a Chinese transliteration of the English word rover. Okay, this just in. It doesn't actually mean rover. It's a reference to like a mountain that's important in Taoist history and culture. Thank you, Lagrange Way and iBlossom from Twitch chat for catching that for me. So Xianzhou Luofu is some kind of reference to this Taoist mountain, and I guess it remains to be seen as the story in the game unfolds what the importance of that is. So again, for the pronunciation, Xianzhou, first tone, Luofu, both second tone. So first tone, second tone, second tone. Xianzhou Luofu, Xianzhou Luofu. Again, maybe be a little bit careful with how you say Luofu because as chat pointed out, you messed it up a little bit and you got Xianzhou Doufu. And that's salty porridge with tofu. So don't do that. Or maybe do that on purpose. Kind of like how I say Xingque on purpose. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes we're not mocking the language. Sometimes we're just having a bit of fun, you know? Let people have their fun. On to the salty porridge characters. Let's start with Jing Yuan. Okay, ready? Jing Yuan. Third tone and then second tone. Jing Yuan. Fun fact, when you do third tone, second tone in that pattern, usually, you know how the third tone is technically down and then up? Jing. Honestly, listen to me say that again, right? Jing Yuan, Jing Yuan. I kind of just go low high. Jing Yuan, Jing Yuan. And that's just the tonal pattern usually that happens. I don't actually go Jing Yuan. I go Jing Yuan, Jing Yuan. So that's the tip to simplify the tones a little bit. I think this one is pretty easy. The yuan maybe is a little hard. Yuan, Jing Yuan. It's kind of like yuan, 2 parts, and then as you get used to it, it flows together as 1 syllable. Jing Yuan, Jing Yuan. Jing Yuan. That's it. Jing basically means like scenery, and Yuan is kind of like original. So maybe original scenery is my best guess at his name meaning. I'm sure I'll get lots of corrections in chat and also in the comments. So please do feel free to correct me if your Chinese is better than mine, because my Chinese is not actually that good. I'm an American-born Chinese person. I was born right here in California. I don't know shit. Yanqing, yanqing, yin, qing, yin, qing. Fourth tone and then first tone. Yin is kind of like elegance. And Qing is kind of like an honorific, or like for like a government official, I want to say. But I think it's like elegant something, a respectable elegance, something like that. So usually when you see the Q in Mandarin Chinese pinyin is usually kind of like an American CH, right? But when we say cheese, for example, the ch is quite, again, very thick. So flatten it out. Qing, qing. Yin, qing. Oh, and then the other thing is the an here, yin, yin. I think a lot of people have a tendency to say yan, yan qing. Like you see the a, you really want to like drop your jaw. Yan, yilan, right? I'm always getting lan, yilan. It's not yilan, it's yilan. Similarly here, it's yin, yin, yin qing. Bailu, bailu, bai, second tone, lu, fourth tone. Bailu, bailu. It literally means white dew. I think this is one of the easier ones to pronounce, so we can spend longer on the meaning, because this one goes pretty deep. So Bailu is actually one of the 24 solar terms. Apparently, and I just learned this while researching for this video, the Chinese calendar kind of splits the year, the solar year, right, into 24 segments that are called solar terms. Bailu is the 15th. So you might notice it's like a little bit later in the year. So the 15th solar term is called Bailu. It's in autumn, and it usually heralds the arrival of colder weather. So it literally means white dew, but it is also one of the 24 solar terms of the solar calendar. Next up, Tingyun, Tingyun. I think you guys remember when I said like Jueyun or Tongyun in the Genshin pronunciation videos. It's the same yun here. It means cloud. Yun. I think a lot of people have trouble with that. Yun, yun, yun. Tingyun. This one also goes a little bit deep. It's a reference to a very long poem. We're not going to read the whole poem, but the line that this Tingyun comes from is 庭云霭霭，时雨蒙蒙, which is kind of like the stopped rain hangs heavily like mist. That's my scuffed off-the-cuff translation. 庭云 means stopped clouds. Rain, freezer, cloud, stopper. Wait, these are just Adeptus names. That's the Adeptus format. It's nature feature, action verb. Moon carver, mountain shaper, cloud retainer. And now we have cloud stopper. Next up, we have Sushang, Sushang, Sushang. I did a whole ass video for this girl in her Honkai Impact 3rd iteration. This time, she's not called Li Sushang, she's just called Sushang. The SH sound is probably the hardest part. Shi, shang, shang. So there's a retroflex in there. Your tongue is like, like make that kind of noise. The American rough and ready. That's a very obscure reference. That sound. Notice how your tongue is curled towards the back or maybe in the center of your mouth. Shift it forward against the front of your front teeth. Su, shang, shang, su, shang. People are gonna call her Susan. No! That's what I'm calling her from now on. That's Susan. It's like people calling Zhongli John Lee. I'm so over it. It's kind of funny, but I'm like kind of over it too, you know what I mean? So su is kind of like the essence of something, like the yuan su. And then shang is unclear, honestly. I think shang might be a reference to maybe clothing, but I honestly don't really know. It could also just be a name. So su shang. If anyone knows better, again, leave it in the comments, put it in chat. I genuinely do not know what Su Shang's name means. Qingque is our next one. Qingque. Qingque. First tone and then fourth tone. The Q, again, in Chinese is usually kind of close to an English CH. And then the Que is, again, those two vowel sounds getting strung together. So Que, Que, Qingque, Qingque, Qingque. And it literally just kind of means blue bird. Not like bluebird, like the literal bluebird, but like a blue bird. Because Que is just like a generic term for birds. And Qing it's a lot like the Japanese owl, right? So it's like both blue and green kind of at the same time. So Qingque, blue/green bird. You've seen people say the first Q in Qingque is closer to its. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's kind of a dialect thing. So Qingque, it happens a lot. If you are like a Taiwanese person, for example, a lot of your consonant sounds are gonna sound very different. Qingque is the standard accurate one. Not to say that you have to say it like that, right? But if you want to know the standard, there you have it. In the same way that like if I was going with my Shanghainese accent, I would also be saying a lot of these names really differently. Sushang would probably just be Susang. Like I wouldn't go like Shang. I would just go sang. Hey, 我没各种声音。Susang, 可能就跟那个讲吧。Oh my god, my Shanghainese is so rusty. I have to say it so slow. Luocha. Luo is another one of those combo vowel sounds. Luo. And cha. This is another one of those like, well, the CH is kind of like a CH in English, but you add an R in it. Luocha, second tone and then fourth tone. The meaning is it's quite literally, it's like a demon in Buddhist lore, I guess. It's like a poltergeist in a temple that plays tricks on monks. Fu Xuan is the next one. Fu Xuan. The X is usually kind of like an SH sound in English. So the X here is like a sh sound. Fu Xuan. They're both second tone. Fu Xuan. Fu kind of, it can mean symbol or talisman, right? And xuan is like mystery, I guess. So I think it's like a mysterious symbol or a mysterious talisman is the meaning of fu xuan. Yukong. Yu is a really hard sound for people. I get it. So just say you. You're okay. Just say Yukong and you're good. The one thing is don't say Kong, say Kong, right? Kong, do the long O sound. So Yukong. The trick with the Yu is two parts. First is there's a glottal stop at the front, which if you've watched my other videos, you would know what it is at this point already. I feel like I reiterate myself a lot. If you know like uh-oh, if you say uh-oh, that sound off the front, that's the glottal stop. Yu rather than yu. And that's where you have the glottal stop added in to the front. So yu. Yukong. The second part is the oo sound. Just try to keep it to the oo. Instead of doing the u sound where the oo vowel sound closes up at the end, just hold it. Yu. Yukong. Fourth tone and then first tone. That's it. Yu means like control or kind of power maybe. And kong can mean the air or the sky. So Yukong is kind of like controlling the air. Controlling the sky. It's a very powerful kind of a name. Can you comment on how normal or abnormal these Chinese names have been? These are not like normal Chinese names. These are very, you are playing a video game Chinese names. Right? Like for the most part, these are not names you would see like a normal Chinese person walking around on the street would not have these given names. Yeah, these names are very literary. Literary is a good word for it. I agree. There's like references to mythology and poetry for the most part. And they're like, because of that, they're a little edgy. And so if you were to name your child some of these names, I think your kid would get bullied on the playground. Xueyi. It's the third tone and then the first tone. But similarly to the earlier note I made about the tonal combinations making it sound a little different, no one actually says xueyi, right? Like everyone just goes xueyi. So you kind of go low, high, xueyi. The only difference is the E doesn't go yi, right? It's not xueyi, it's xueyi. It literally means xue, literally means snow, and yi literally means clothes. It's North Face! If anyone has a deeper meaning to that name, by all means speak up. For now, we're gonna call it winter clothing. Yeah, exactly. It's a miao. So I promised I would save Blade and Dan Heng for the end. We'll do Blade first because he's a little easier. I don't super know. I know Blade isn't technically out in the game yet as of this recording. His name in Chinese is Ren. And I just wanted to point out that it's a very edgy name because the Ren is literally the edge of a blade. So it's like a very literally edgy name. That's all I wanted to say. And then of course to Dan Heng. The Dan here, I just want to call out, it's not Don, right? It's not D-O-N, it's Dan, kind of an ah sound. Dan Heng. The Dan in Dan Heng's name is most likely a reference to, I think, cinnabar. And cinnabar is like this reddish brown mineral. Chinese history also had its alchemists. And so Chinese alchemy utilized cinnabar a lot in like, similarly, they were trying to, you know, like all alchemists, trying to refine other metals into gold. And so cinnabar was important in that process. It's like an immortality thing. And then the Heng is also an interesting one because I think it's a reference to the I Ching. The I Ching is a Chinese, ancient Chinese text. I think literally translated as the Book of Changes or the Philosophy of Change, perhaps. It is the underlying philosophy of a lot of Chinese philosophy in general. If you've ever heard of the Ba Gua, which is the like yin yang symbol with like the things around it, that comes out of the I Ching. And similarly out of the I Ching, there's like a bunch of, I think they're called hexagrams. There are 64 hexagrams in the I Ching, and Heng is one of the 64 hexagrams. The Heng in Dan Heng's name means like persevering or perseverance. His name is the agglomeration of a word that symbolizes change and catalyzation, as well as the word that symbolizes constance and perseverance. So Dan Heng's name is a really interesting, complicated one. That's why I wanted to spend more time on it. I hope you guys think that's as interesting as I do. I think it's really cool. I guess we'll see how that reflects in his lore. I think we might get some spicy lore out of this. Let's do a really fast speed run. You ready? Xianzhou Luofu, Jing Yuan, Qing, Bailu, Tingyun, Sushang, Qingque, Luocha, Xuan, Yukong, Xueyi, Dan Heng. That's it. That's the whole thing. As far as I know, there are only 2 Chinese-based Aeons. Aeons? Eons? I don't know how to say that actually. So we'll go over those 2. The first one is Yaoshi of the abundance path. Yaoshi. Yao, I think is pretty easy. Shi again has that SH with the retroflex. Shi. Yaoshi. And it literally means like medicine master. The next one is Lan. So Lan is the Aeon representing the hunt. Lan, I think, is pretty easy to pronounce also. I'm going to call again attention to the A sound. Lan. Lan. And Lan kind of means like mist. That's about it. Yup. It's a really pretty word. Lan is a very poetic word, but it just means mist. So that's all I'm gonna cover in this video, but if you have any questions or addendums, please add them in the YouTube comments below. Please also check the pinned comment and the description for links to my other pronunciation guides, where I actually go very in-depth on a lot of like pronunciation related information. And again, I did also make a whole video for Li Sushang for Honkai Impact 3rd, which has a lot of Chinese cultural factoids in it, if that piques your interest. So do check those other videos out as well. As always, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, have a wonderful time of day, and I hope you guys found this video helpful and informative. And again, ask your questions, give me your notes in the bottom, and we'll revisit this in a few months for an addendum and an update video. So thank you for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.